We are live here in Paris for Paris Blockchain Week, the last day of the conference. We're at the Sandbox Art First Gallery. I'm here with Eric Piscini, CEO of Hashgraph. How are you doing today?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. I'm loving the energy.
Yeah,
How is Paris Blockchain Week treating you?
it's fantastic. Well, first I was born here, so to me coming back here is a treat. And then the weather has been such an amazing weather for this time of the year. I think we are really lucky.
Wow.
And then the conference is, this is my third time here. I just love coming here. The energy, the level of interaction, the level of maturity around the industry is really exciting to see.
Seems like you have a sense of how things are working and operating, obviously. You've been in the space for a while and you've had about 25 years of experience in traditional roles, but you ended up in blockchain. So tell me a little bit about that role, about a little bit about that experience.
The journey,
A
yeah.
little bit about the journey.
Well, so it's a 12-year journey, right? I started 12 years ago. I was a partner in the US at Deloitte, and a friend of mine from my engineering school here in France sent me a white paper, the Satoshi white paper.
Wow.
And he said, you should look into this. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to look into it. And then in 2013, I realized that this is going to change the world. And so we decided at Deloitte to launch a new practice. We grew that practice with a lot of people, 1,200 people worldwide across all the functions of Deloitte. So very exciting time to build. And then at some point, I left to start a new company. That company was working on supply chain and blockchain. Ended up exiting that company 2 years later, joined a friend of mine at IBM to continue to do blockchain for healthcare and life sciences this time, so different industries. And then 2 years ago, I joined the Hedera ecosystem, and I'm the CEO of Hashgraph, which is the project behind the Hedera network.
Wow. Fascinating journey. Let's start a little bit with the rebrand, right? It was originally called Swirlds Labs.
Yeah, which is why we changed, see?
Right. There we go. There we go. Okay. There's case in point.
Yeah.
So tell me about what that journey's been like.
So if you know Hedera, right? Hedera is based on the technology called Hashgraph, invented by Dr. Lehman Bell. And for us to be the product engineering, marketing, communication, technical team behind the product, behind the Hedera network, it makes so much sense for our company to be named the technology behind it. So we really decided to change the name for that reason. And the recognition is also very important. The community, the world, the blockchain and industry recognized us now much, much faster than whatever the name was before. I'm not supposed to say the old name because we have a game in the company. If you say the old name, you get to wear a green necklace for a day. That's the punishment if you say your name. So I'm not.
Interesting. Okay. Got it. So Hashgraph has been pretty instrumental in growing Hedera's ecosystem.
Yeah. So the history, a little bit of history, right? 2018, the team is one team at Hedera, building all the things, building everything, launching, raising money, launching the platform, launching the network, and so on. At some point, the decision was made to decentralize the center of the company, right? Mostly driven by regulatory demand in the US. So 2 new entities were created. The foundation, who has a mission to give grants to support the ecosystem growth. And the second one was now called Hashgraph, the team behind the network, right? So if you look at it today, we have 3 entities. One is the actual council who's running the nodes. And by the way, this is very important because the council is a set of organizations who are in charge of running the network. And those organizations are not, tiny ones, right? It's Dell, it's IBM, it's Google, it's LG, it's EDF in France here. It's many, many organizations, very large, who are running the network for us. So that's entity number 1. Everybody else who's not managing the council moved into Hashgraph. So Hashgraph today, we are about 130 people building. So it's the same team as the beginning. It's just a different entity, building the network, building the product, and marketing the product.
Wow. Okay. Thank you for that background. Can you kind of elaborate on the commitment to open source?
At the beginning of the project, we did commit to open access. So we said anyone can look at the code, anyone can look at it. But what what was missing is the recognition that we were an open source project. And so last year, we actually partnered with the Linux Foundation, and we said we're gonna as they were about to rebrand themselves,
Linux Decentralized Trust.
Correct.
Linux Foundation Decentralized Trust.
at FDT in
Right.
short, right? So at FDT started, and we said we want to be the first layer one to contribute the entire code source to the at FDT, to the Linux Foundation, and we did. And it's called Project Hyra, Hyero.
Yep.
Project Hyra is the open source platform for everything. So if you want to start engaging with the Hedera platform today, it's open source. You can engage the community. A lot of people are joining. Almost every day, we have new people building on the platform.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, my next question was going to be, what do you see the future of decentralized technology like being? Where do you see like decentralized applications specifically going?
So that's an interesting question. So because I've been in this industry for a long time, we've been looking for that killer app, right? Since the beginning, like any other innovation. And I think stablecoin to me are the first killer app for blockchain, right? Because many people use stablecoins today, many people understand what it is, which is very important. And this is really starting to be adopted. The next phase of adoption would be, I think, in around two lines, right? You have the traditional line, which is going to be tokenization, loyalty platforms, stablecoin still, supply chain, and so on. And then you have the AI play, which we can talk about, but the AI play is also going to drive a lot of requirements for blockchain adoption across the board.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fascinating. And what role is Hedera going to play, or Hashgraph going to play in this?
So we as ecosystem, Hedera, Hashgraph, and the foundation, we are enabling people, enabling organizations, builders, and large organizations to create those platforms, right? So whether it's an infrastructure play or whether it's an application, we have a lot of different applications around tokenization. We have stablecoin plays, we have gaming platforms.
Right.
Again, you can do whatever you want on the network, right? The network is wide open for everyone to consume. We tend to focus more on long-term trajectory, long-term plays, right? Which is why we spend time on tokenization of real assets, real estate, for example, money market funds. We focus on stablecoin activation. We focus on AI. We focus on sustainability platform. That's a great example because I love that example. When we partner with Hyundai and Kia, I think we say Hyundai in French.
Okay.
Hyundai and Kia, when we partner with them, we said we're gonna put all your supply chain on Hedera, and anytime there is a part that is being created, produced, moved, or assembled, we're gonna capture that event, and we're gonna capture the carbon footprint of that event, right? Every single time, across 26 major suppliers of Hyundai and Kia, obviously.
Wow.
Themselves. So when you get the car at the end of the chain, you actually know, because you aggregate all that data and you use that trust layer that we have, you actually know the carbon footprint of that particular car.
Wow.
Which is pretty cool.
That is really cool.
Because if you're an enterprise and you want to be carbon neutral, now you know exactly the amount of carbon credits you need to buy to offset your carbon footprint.
Wow.
Per car.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's a really good case of
really
what we are building in sustainability.
Wow. Fascinating. I mean, you guys are launching something that's going to accelerate adoption. Do you want to talk about it?
So many things, right? But Hyra was one of them.
Okay.
We are launching studios. So the studios are really a set of software and partnerships and dedicated teams to come to Hedera and not have to understand the entire stack of the platform, but then you can consume the platform in a much faster way. So for example, we have people coming to us and saying, I want to tokenize an asset and offer that asset to a bunch of investors, right? 2 weeks. You can do that in 2 weeks with our studio, right? So by the time you understand everything, we can actually launch in production a tokenization platform with you. So that's really awesome, right?
Wow.
So we do tokenization, stablecoin, we have AI, we have sustainability, and we have DePIN, decentralized physical infrastructure. So those are the topics we are highly investing into. And then we have another thing, maybe that was your next question,
Yep.
About, in some cases, we have organizations coming to us and they are saying, well, I love what you're doing. I love the code. The performance of the network is amazing. The cost of the transaction is so low. I don't even know how much I'm paying because it's a fraction of a cent every time I use a network. The cancel is awesome, but I cannot build on a public ledger. A public ledger today is not going to work for me because I have regulatory constraints. I have data residency issues. The different banks, for example, who wants to build, they cannot build on a public ledger. So what can you do for me? And so we said, okay, well, we are tired of hearing this, and we cannot move them onto Hedera as a public ledger. So we created a private version, which is really a copy of what we have in the public ledger. And that private version lets everybody now consume the Hedera platform, and then they can start building and bridge, if they need to, bridge that platform, that private version, to the mainnet, to the public ledger. So, for example, if you want to create a token and you want that token to be tradable on, Coinbase, then you can actually connect to the mainnet and become tradable. But everything else is private, protected, regulated, supported with an SLA, right? So now you have someone to call when something is wrong, right? Which is not always the case in public ledgers. And that product that we just launched 2 weeks ago is called Hashsphere, like the sphere. And we are getting, tremendous traction, including here at the event.
Any interesting companies or use cases or kind of examples of people or companies that have already used this?
Yeah, so we have a mix of companies, like very big ones, who are, in the insurance industry, for example. They want to build their own version of an insurance platform to share across different insurance companies, but they cannot be on a public ledger. So we said, okay, let's start there. Let's build something. We have very small companies building their own tokenization solutions. We have people building loyalty solutions across different brands, right? So you can earn a point in one company, use that point on a different company, and all of that in a private setting with a lot of exciting things. For sure.
Wow. Yeah. Wow. Well, Eric, this has been absolutely fascinating. What's one takeaway you've had from Paris Blockchain Week?
Oh, gee, one?
What your favorite? Give me a few. Give me a few.
Well, yesterday I had a chance to go visit the Senate in France.
Wow.
And to me, that's very interesting that the Senate wants to participate in innovation. Because you think of the Senate as like the chamber that's kind of the old guard, right? Typically, right? But we had a great time yesterday. So some of us, we went there, we did visit the Senate with a senator, and we engaged in a discussion around innovation and blockchain for governments. So that was a pretty unique time.
That's huge.
And a connection with the realization that people are now getting what blockchain is and understanding the potential impact of it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
I picked one.
Yeah. If there's any more, give me a few more. Whatever's coming.
Well, the other thing is I've been here 3 times for Paris Blockchain Week. By the way, every time good weather, so I don't know, luck. But the connections you make here are really unique. I remember last year we did connect with a lot of people, and today we are in business with these people, and we are actually building with them, right?
Wow.
And you cannot say that with a lot of conference you go to. I think Paris is a little bit unique because you have a good mix of different backgrounds, and you can really find opportunities to build new solutions, new companies. So it's a pretty exciting time.
Wow.
Paris to me is one of the main crypto hub in the world.
Really?
And people don't understand that. Yeah.
Interesting. I wouldn't have thought.
And I'm not saying that because I'm from Paris.
Yeah.
I'm biased, but I think that's true.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, we're definitely feeling it here this week.
Yeah.
It's quite the energy. Eric, thank you so much for coming. I really appreciate it. It was a really great conversation.
Thank you.
And I hope you enjoy the rest of the Paris Blockchain.
Thank you. You too.
Hey, what's up?
But it's not something Genzio is afraid of.
If you want to survive, you got to build a
How
hive.
many know we do not understand that we do not
Ladies and gentlemen.
We're back at the Genzio Media House.
Awesome. Thanks so much for joining us today.